Hello everyone, Jonathan Schlack, EAS&Weather here with a severe weather update. We have two areas where we have a slight risk for severe weather today. We have one slight risk area today that covers parts of eastern Colorado, the far northeastern corner of New Mexico, central Nebraska, the western half of Kansas, the north central part of the panhandle of Texas, and northwestern Oklahoma. Going to the northeast now. We have a slight risk for severe weather in the northeast today that covers southeastern Ohio, the northern part of West Virginia, the northern half of West Virginia, I should say, north central Virginia, Washington, D.C., the northwestern half of Maryland, northern half of Delaware, most of Pennsylvania, which includes my area, most of New Jersey, central, east central, and southeastern New York State, which includes New York City and the western half of Long Island, western Connecticut, western Massachusetts, and the southern half of Vermont. And we have a broad marginal risk area for today. We have a broad area where we have a marginal risk for severe weather today that covers parts of eastern Colorado, northeastern New Mexico, south central South Dakota, most of Nebraska, eastern half of Kansas, the central part of the panhandle of Texas, the northern half of Oklahoma, western Iowa, most of Missouri, northern Arkansas, the southern half of Illinois, far northwestern Tennessee, southern half of Indiana, most of Kentucky, most of Ohio, southern half of West Virginia, central Virginia, northwestern Pennsylvania, southeastern half of Maryland, southern half of Delaware, far southeastern New Jersey, western and north central New York State, as well as eastern half of Long Island, eastern half of Connecticut, northern half of Vermont, and most of New Hampshire. And we have a marginal risk down here that encompasses southeastern Arizona. We have two areas where we have a 2% chance of an isolated tornado today. One area that covers south central South Dakota and central Nebraska. And going to the northeast, we have a 2% chance of an isolated tornado in the northeast today that covers parts of central New York State and southwestern Vermont. So, going to the wind, we have two areas where we have a 15% chance of damaging wind gusts of 58 miles per hour higher today that covers eastern Colorado, the far northeastern corner of New Mexico, central Nebraska, western half of Kansas, northwestern Oklahoma, and the north central panhandle of Texas. And going to the northeast now, we also have a 15% chance of damaging wind gusts of 58 miles per hour higher today that covers southeastern Ohio, northern half of West Virginia, north central Virginia, Washington, D.C., the northwestern half of Maryland, northern half of Delaware, most of Pennsylvania, which includes my area, most New Jersey, central, east central, and southeastern New York State, which includes New York City and the western half of Long Island, western Connecticut, western Massachusetts, and southern half of Vermont. So, we have a broad area where we have a 5% chance of damaging wind gusts of 58 miles per hour higher today that covers northeastern New Mexico, eastern Colorado, southern South Dakota, most Nebraska, eastern half of Kansas, the central panhandle of Texas, northern half of Oklahoma, western Iowa, most of Missouri, northern Arkansas, southern half of Illinois, southern half of Indiana, far northwestern Tennessee, most of Kentucky, don't make an update on me, most of Ohio, southern half of West Virginia, central Virginia, southeastern half of Maryland, southern half of Delaware, far southeastern New Jersey, northwestern Pennsylvania, western and north central New York State, the eastern half of Long Island, eastern Connecticut, central Massachusetts, northern half of Vermont, and most New Hampshire. And going down here, we have a 5% chance of damaging wind gusts of 58 miles per hour higher today. Now going to the hail, we have a 15% chance of hail of 1 inch in diameter or larger today that covers eastern Colorado, central Nebraska, western Kansas, and the panhandle of Oklahoma. And we have a 5% chance of hail of 1 inch in diameter or larger today that covers south central South Dakota, most of Nebraska, eastern Colorado, northeastern New Mexico, the Texas Panhandle, most of Oklahoma, eastern half of Kansas, southwestern Missouri, and northwestern Arkansas. Going to the northeast now, we have a 5% chance of hail of 1 inch in diameter or larger today that covers southeastern Ohio, northern half of West Virginia, north central Virginia, Washington, D.C., a lot of Maryland, central and northern Delaware, most of Pennsylvania, which includes my area, most of New Jersey, central, eastern, and southeastern New York State, which includes New York City and the western half of Long Island, western Connecticut, western Massachusetts, southern half of Maine, and the very far southwestern edge of New Hampshire. Going to the summary, strong to severe thunderstorms are possible from the central plains across the mid-Mississippi and Ohio valleys into the northeast. Later today, greater severe thunderstorm potential is anticipated across the central plains vicinity and from the upper Ohio Valley into the northeast. So, that's all I got for the Day 1 Outlook, and I will have a separate video on the Day 2 Outlook very soon, so stay tuned for the Day 2 Outlook, which I will have out very soon.